Hi everyone, my name is Brady Landers, and today's a special video. Today we're doing a list, we're doing a ranking video of one of, if not the greatest band to ever walk the earth, my favorite band. You know them, you love them, it's the Beatles. There's only 13, so it's not a huge list, and I'm gonna try to make this quick as possible. Let's just get kicked off. Okay, for the record, I don't consider any of these albums bad. I consider all these albums like really good. Kicking off, we have number 13. So I hate to say that this is like my least favorite Beatles album, because like it's not a bad album. It's just it's the one that I feel like I forget about the most, even though it still has some really great songs. It has 8 Days a Week, it has No Reply, I'll Follow the Sun, some really great ones. But also, you get those covers in there, you get like rock and roll music that are nice, but they don't have a place in my head over time, if that makes sense. Number 12. Number 12 is With the Beatles. So this is the one vinyl that I actually don't have, which is sad because I like this one a lot. Yeah, it still has more covers. It has my least favorite Beatles song, Little Child, but it still has a lot to offer. You have George Harrison's first ever written song, Don't Bother Me. You have All My Loving, a underappreciated classic, I would say. Not bad, just, you know, covers, some really good songs, and some not. Number 11 is... Yeah, okay, so this one, I know what people think. Brady, there's only 4 new Beatles songs on this. How can you rank it above 2 other complete Beatles albums? This would be at the very bottom. But the thing is that the 4 songs that were made are so good. Those songs I listen to so much compared to those other 2 albums. I have to recognize of how great they are. And also, there's a pretty killer movie behind this too. That if you haven't seen it, what are you doing? Number 10 is... Yeah, so the first Beatles album, one of the best of their early years. It kicks off on such a great note for them. You have the rockin' bopper of I Saw Her Standing There, just kicking it right off. You have Love Me Do, which I like. I don't love. P.S. I Love You is probably my favorite one on here, so good stuff, good stuff.
Number 9
is... This is my favorite early Beatles album. Because first of all, it's the first one that has all original music by the Beatles. You get so many good songs. Yeah, like that A-side is packing. There is not a song that feels unfinished or one that feels lazy. Everything in here is top notch. This is such a great setting stone for what's to come. It's also accompanied to another really sweet movie. It's the best Beatles movie in my opinion. Go see it if you haven't. It's amazing. It's called A Hard Day's Night. Number 8 is... Help. This is the first vinyl I ever bought. Yeah, so Help is great. Might have my favorite A-side of any Beatles album. The vibe is fantastic. It's just vibey soft rock with pop in it. And once again, it's accompanied by another great movie. As great as A Hard Day's Night, you know, Submarine? No. Also, look at these pictures. Look at George. Look at his cowboy hat. It's so cute. The only bad thing is Dizzy Miss Lizzy, because oh my god, like you listen to Yesterday and you're like, oh yeah, and then you go into like the of Dizzy Miss Lizzy and you're like, okay. Number 7 is... Yeah, their final performance as a band together, or kind of, if you consider Abbey Road to be their last. I like it a lot. I feel there is a lot of strong stuff on here, but I will say, however, I do prefer the un-Phil Spectorized version of Let It Be Naked. It's what the group wanted. It's the good raw sound of the Beatles, and also you get Don't Let Me Down on here, which is really, really cool, and dare I say, better than the single version. Number 6 is... Rubber Soul was the first Beatles album that I really ever got into. As you may know, it's the first one where the group finally got control of the studio. They finally started doing stuff that they wanted. You see that on here. You finally get some little hints of forthcoming psychedelic sounds with stuff like Norwegian Wood and like Nowhere Man. Very progressive stuff for the time. I will say, I really hope they do a remaster or something like that of this soon, because the production on it does start to come out after a few listens to the album. Nonetheless, Great material. Number 5. Alright, yeah, so I know it's basically just a bunch of singles and a few extra songs put together that makes up an album, but the songs really work together. Okay, I just have like just one of the quirkiest cameras of all time. It literally like stopped recording for like 2 minutes and then picked back up. So I'm just gonna fill in the spot that got cut out for some reason. Yeah, so it was a nice sequel to Sgt. Pepper, if you think of it that way. The only bad parts about it would be the movie that it's tied with. It is something else. I would not recommend. But yeah, that's Magical Mystery Tour. Number 4 is... It is Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. What hasn't been said about this? One of the most influential things to ever come out of music. It was the breakthrough. It was the smash through the wall celebration of the century. It's wonderful. The continuity from song to song is so fresh, so smooth, as well as the production. To this day, when you listen to just the original recording, it still sounds amazing. Like I said, what hasn't been said about it? It's brilliant. Number 3 is... What's to say about the White Album? It's glorious. It's magnificent. It's double the length. And you also get a lot of hints towards what's to come in the solo careers. I think we're going back to the other me now. For some reason my camera started recording. I apologize for the back and forthness. And go. Okay, for these final 2, this is really hard. I always switch these back and forth. I can never really decide where I want them. Without further ado, number 2 is... Revolver. Man, where do you begin? It starts off so well with Taxman. It's like a totally new thing for George. It sounds so cool. And then you just burst into Eleanor Rigby and you're like, wow, that's really cool. And then you get I'm Only Sleeping, and that sounds so good. I remember hearing that for the first time. It shook me because I never heard anything like that before. And just like hearing that backwards, like E minor chord, it was amazing. And then you get Here, There, and Everywhere, perhaps my favorite Beatles song. This is another one where I wish they would do a remastered of it because the production, some of it isn't that great. If there was one, it would be really cool. And also, there's barely any like outtakes or stuff that you can find for this, which I wish there was, because that would be very nice to hear like some acoustic strip back versions of some songs. Lastly, we get to number 1, the granddaddy of them all. I'm pretty sure you already know what it is. Without further ado, number 1 is Ram. Yeah, Ram. Do you like Ram? I love Ram. Unfortunately, Ram isn't a Beatles album, so it's not number 1, but I just like talking about Ram. So anyway, number 1 is... Yeah, yeah. Not too much of a surprise there, I guess. Just like with Sgt. Pepper, what can you say about it that hasn't been said? You get possibly the greatest B-side medley ever put to the ears. You get George finally bursting out from his egg and becoming a songwriting mastermind, and would eventually use these powers into All Things Must Pass. There is not a dry song, not a boring moment. Everything flows together so well, and it's an album that I've had on repeat for like 7-8 years now. So yeah, that is where I stand. So once again, these 2, S tier. You can't go wrong. So good. So that is all of the Beatles albums ranked. Were you surprised? Probably not. Let me know what you think, and thank you so much for watching. Also, thank you to all the people who watched my video last week with my sister and I. I was really surprised with how many views I got, and it inspired me, and I want to upload more. Also, we're almost at 50 subscribers. Wow, okay, yeah, so I will see you again very soon. Please subscribe, please like, do whatever, and I will see y'all. And next time, you say goodbye, and I say also goodbye.